everyone, welcome on board. This is Anisha here in conversation today with Bhavya, who's from IBA Bangalore. She heads the team of accreditations, and we're going to have a very interesting conversation today talking about your scholarships and the overall admissions process at IBA Bangalore. And if you guys have seen a couple of other videos, we always talk about the ROI is very good. So let's hear it from Bhavya ma'am herself, what and how you can get in scholarships, because you will not believe last year we've had 7.9 CR scholarships which is coming in from IBA Bangalore, where the fees last year was 9 point something, if I'm not wrong, Bhavya, and this year we have increased to 10.3 lakhs, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Right. So
Amazing.
last year we offered somewhere around 6.54 crores of scholarship. This year we are offering around 7.9.
Amazing. That's amazing. So now, Bhavya, tell us, before we talk about these scholarships, what is this head of accreditations and what are the various programs at IBA that you are offering right now?
Okay. So, ma'am, what IBA offers is the PGDM program with a dual specialization. So when we talk about accreditation, which is most important thing in any of the B school, which I would say, since that makes your degree globally recognized. Okay, that is that ensures that the program curriculum is quality assured.
Yeah.
Right. So we have this international accreditation from IACB. We have the national accreditation from the National Board of Accreditation, and we have recently got the SAQS accreditation by MDSA for 5 years. So
Wow,
this is
that's
a
amazing.
milestone which we have achieved last month itself, and team is really motivated to go ahead with another international accreditation. So before we do the celebration, the team has already started working for another accreditation. That's
Lovely.
how the motivation is with the team.
That's amazing. That's really good. And because all of these accreditations actually talk a lot about the infrastructure, the faculties, what is it that the students are going to get. So that's something very nice. So, ma'am,
Basically, it talks about
yeah.
that your program is up to date with the global standards.
Yes. Lovely. That's interesting. So, ma'am, like we were discussing about, the scholarships and everything, and you mentioned about the students can get defense scholarship or the OBSM, which is, during the program. As per the website, ma'am, which we were checking out, there are multiple other, tuition waivers and awards that these students can get in during the program, 2 years. Could you help us understand these as well, ma'am? Like when and what is the criteria for them?
So, starting with, we have the scholarship during the admission phase. So when students take the admission, based on their academic scores as well, because again, we are a profile-based institute.
Yeah.
And to nurture that talent, to motivate that talent, we have to provide them the scholarship. It is better to recognize their talent.
Yes.
Right. So we have different types of scholarship again under the admission phase as well. Like for an example, if a student is having 10 12 in 10 12th and graduation 60% above, they get a certain amount of it. If they have 70%, they get 60,000 of scholarship. If they have 80%, they get 70,000 of scholarship.
Okay.
And plus, in case if they have scored more than 90 percentile in CAT or 95 percentile in CMAT,
Yeah.
they get scholarship up to 1,50,000.
Okay.
So entrance basis pay, it starts from 60,000, it goes up to 1,50,000.
Okay.
And ma'am, in fact, a lot of our students was in the bracket of 80 to 1 lakh last year, and
Nice.
that's how the management decided to increase that scholarship this year to 1,50,000.
Lovely, that's great. So essentially, I'm going to be getting evaluated on my academic scores performance for 10th, 12th graduation, the entrance exams performance, and the overall profile. Like you said, since we are a profile based college, what is the maximum one student can get a scholarship amount of?
Ma'am, during admission phase, it will be somewhere around 1,50,000. But overall, if we talk about during the 2 years,
Yeah.
they can get up to 4 to 5 lakhs of scholarship.
Interesting. So I'm not just getting scholarships at the admissions time, I can also get scholarships further ahead. So what are the
Yes.
scholarships that I can get, like let's say maybe after 1 year of my course or in between?
Okay, so after 1 year, the top 50% of the students are being sponsored by IBA for a OBSM, which is Overseas Business Study Mission.
Okay.
That's the international study tool wherein students go visit the different countries, understand how the work culture there it is, because again in nowadays everybody, most of them gets into MNCs,
Yeah.
right? And within few years itself they get an opportunity to do an overseas project or to do a short term project overseas.
Yes.
So to understand the culture how it is, so that they don't become uncomfortable in between, right? They go there, they get that exposure, so that approximately cost is somewhere around 1 to 1.5 lakh.
Okay.
So IBA takes care of that expenses for first top 50% of the students of first year.
Lovely. That's interesting, ma'am. So, ma'am, any parting thoughts that you would like to give to these students? Because now they would be sitting and applying to colleges. If you could tell us the admission process and what do you recommend students to do in order to increase their chances of getting scholarships and getting the admissions as well?
Ma'am, before we move on to that, I would also like to highlight one more point, that our founder chairman, he really wanted to give that appreciation for the defense personnel. Like if the we are sitting safe because there are people who are on the borders,
Yes.
away from their families, doing their duties. So to recognize their efforts, our late founder chairman, he constituted a special scholarship for defense personnel, for wards of defense personnel, CRPF and BSF.
Oh,
So
wow.
which is 25% fee waiver in their second year of tuition fee, which comes to around 1.5 lakhs.
Amazing, amazing. That's nice. So, ma'am, this it's an amazing thing to have a defense scholarship which is there and the tuition waiver, like you mentioned. So, anybody who has their family members in or defense is eligible for this.
Yes, ma'am. So their
Okay,
parents has to be in defense.
parents have to be in the defense.
So
Okay,
either of the parents, mother or father,
okay.
defense, CRPF or BSF.
BSF. All right. Okay, that's lovely. That's a very interesting thing, and I think that's really commendable. There are very few colleges which are actually doing things to encourage defense personnel and their siblings or their child to have good scholarship opportunities. So that's interesting. And ma'am, now talking about the whole process, like you mentioned that they will get scholarships at the time of admission. So what is the admission process like? Do we have online or offline interviews? How's it going to be this year?
Ma'am, it's a completely online process, though they have to fill the application form, submit their documents. In case if they're getting shortlisted for the interview, they will be called for the GD and PI, and the whole process is going to be online completely. So
Okay.
first they appear for SOP,
Yeah.
then they appear for GD. If they get shortlisted in GD, then they appear for PI.
Lovely. So basically, everybody who's shortlisted on their first application form will have to write an SOP and a group discussion, which is then an elimination, and we have a personal interview for them.
Right, ma'am.
Okay, amazing. That's great. And ma'am, if we were to, like let's say tentative timeline, since we have our one of the deadlines coming up soon, when can the students expect to get their shortlist and interviews, or have we already started with them?
Ma'am, we have already started the interviews. So we have already completed 3 rounds of interviews,
Nice.
and we will be again coming up with the fourth round of interview.
Lovely, that's really great. Any things that Bhavya ma'am you would like to suggest for the students to prepare or to keep in mind when they're coming and taking their interviews or applying to IBA?
Ma'am, I believe that they should be not looking only at their entrance score. Obviously, that is important to understand the student, capability. But what we also, look at it, that how open they are to the other activities as well. Okay, how well they have involved in their extracurricular activities. So it's not like it, they always have to be in this bookish knowledge कि book पढ़ते रहो and you will get it. So उससे admission शायद आपको एक अच्छे बी स्कूल में मिल भी जाएगा, but then when it comes to placement, the all-rounder, it's always the all-rounder who gets the first place.
Correct.
Right. So, people need to have that kind of a mindset that yes, when they are coming to any B school, or when we talk about IBA, so they should be looking at the the other activities apart from the academics, which is again very important, participation in management fest. Whether they win or not win, that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
We always tell students that, it is not always about only winning. It's about taking that experiences with you. So, people do present research papers as well in, IIMs, and they have actually won the best research paper award as well in IIM Ahmedabad. So, we have the scholarship for that. Again, I'm sorry, I'm diverting back to the scholarship.
That's
So we
absolutely.
have this special scholarship, Dr. Anil Agarwal scholarship, which is given during the convocation. That's worth rupees 51,000. So that is again given to a student who is academically good, as well as the overall the other areas as well. He or she have been there, participating in management fest, initiating the whole event, our management fest, or any kind of a other activity like, burning bush, which is our sports event, doing, research papers, publishing research papers. So all these activities counts.
Great. So essentially, we are always encouraging students to have a holistic profile, not just before MBA, but also even once you get into the college, the 2 years, just make sure you keep taking advantage of all the exposure and opportunities that they get.
Yes, ma'am.
Lovely. That's really amazing. Thank you so much, Bhavya, for spending time with us. It was a pleasure to have you on board. And for all the students, if you guys have any doubts, any questions with respect to the admission process, the scholarships, the placements, drop in the comment section and we will take that up for you guys. Thank you so much and all the best.